Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is November 17th, video number 2 on the day here. Decided to do a quick evening update. You can see the storm system continue to spin off the coastline here, but we've got some excessive rainfall potential here across some of the coastal areas here, maybe Santa Barbara, north of the Channel Islands along the coastal areas here, Highway 1, 101. We're going to look at these details here, and there is some moderate heavy rain, some thunderstorm activity across the Bay Area, and you can see that is going to continue as the storm continues to pump moisture into the region here. This is going to start dropping some snowfall as we go through the overnight and early hours tomorrow morning, and we're going to continue this precipitation across a lot of the region here as we go through the day tomorrow before the storm system finally wraps up at some point on Sunday. We've got another frontal system off the coastline off to the left of the screen here, and this is going to help kick the system through, but it's also going to bring some very strong winds across the state also. Now, diving into things quickly here, we got the day one excessive rainfall outlook, and then this could be convectively enhanced, and that's why they issued it there, kind of slamming into the terrain of the coastal range there. Again, watch out on Highway 1 or 101 there, Santa Barbara included, just north of the Channel Islands there. And you can see there is flash flood potential here. It kind of makes its way towards Ventura and Santa Barbara County there, tries to get down towards the Los Angeles Metro, and you can't rule out a thunderstorm or two there also. But you can see between a half an inch to an inch hourly rates here, and convectively enhanced, like I mentioned here, kind of slamming into the terrain, and total rainfall probably in the 1 to 2 inch range here. So yeah, watch out for this flooding out there, folks, if you are out and about still tonight on in through the early morning hours tomorrow. Taking a look at the winds as well, you can see some strong southeast winds here across the higher terrain of Southern California coastal range, and you can kind of see the very strong winds right off the coastline. But this is going to sweep up across some of the interior valley areas up towards Redding, Sacramento. Some big gusts could be coming in, 35 plus, 40 miles per hour plus across some of the interior areas, and very strong winds are coming across the Sierra Nevada here also. And then this next system swings through, and look at it really kick up the winds as we go through Saturday night into early Sunday morning. You're talking about gusts up over 80, 90 miles per hour across some of the higher terrain there. Very tight gradient, and you can see this extend all the way down across the mountains of Southern California, some of the desert areas as well, and across Nevada as we go through the day Sunday morning here. And you can kind of see the strong northerly wind ripping down the coastline, the northwest wind there also. So yeah, interesting winds coming up here, folks. And then we're not going to be done with it after the storm rolls through this weekend, because we're going to kick things offshore and bring some Santa Ana winds, which you can see at the very end of this afternoon's North American model run, the high resolution. You can really see some of these strong winds ripping through the gaps here as we go into early Monday morning. So wild winds are incoming. This is looking at accumulated max 10-meter wind gusts on this afternoon's run, and look at some of these strong winds coming up here. Watch out, Redding, Red Bluff, Northern California, the higher terrain. You could get some gusts up towards 50 here as we go through tomorrow, and then the big winds arrive in this westerly component to them. And look at across the Sierra Nevada again, kind of showing some gusts up over 90 miles per hour for some of the highest areas. The Tehachapi area out there, I had some help with the pronunciation today in the comments, and you can see some of the desert areas, big gusts. And then as we go towards the end of the run, you kind of see the Santa Ana's kicking across the region there as well, with some pretty strong winds showing up on some of these model runs. We'll watch that Santa Ana wind event a little bit more here as we get closer to it. This is looking at the European, the 18Z run, the latest European. You can see this lightning activity, central coastline there, potentially getting the Bay Area as we go on in through tonight, but then kind of shifting down across some of Southern California as we go towards tomorrow morning. And the National Weather Service Los Angeles actually mentioned the potential for a waterspout or even a brief tornado with some of this action coming down across the area tomorrow morning. So heads up for that. As we scroll through Saturday, you can see there is going to be the potential for some lightning action also. And Saturday evening, you can see that. And then maybe but Sunday kind of kicking off to the east there finally as that system gets off of our area here. Man, what a storm here. This has been, seems like it's been with us for many days now. It actually has. But now looking at the HRRR, the 3 kilometer high resolution model, this one goes out 48 hours because it's a 0Z run. Every 6 hours it goes out 48 hours. All the other hourly runs go out 18. But you can really see the heavy precipitation, especially Bay Area northward. Look at across Northern California, some big amounts incoming here by the time we get towards tomorrow night. And you can even see across Southern California, kind of localized amounts though, could be reaching down, trying to get towards the Los Angeles Metro there. And again, you can't rule out some thunderstorm activity down there, but look at some of these big amounts across the Sierra Nevada, coastal areas, coastal range, Northern California, all the way up through Oregon as well. And this is looking at the European. This is the most recent run here. If I put this into motion, you can clearly see why they put that excessive rainfall outlook for this area again, kind of on the coastline, the central coast here, higher terrain down towards Santa Barbara and Ventura County on in through tomorrow morning. And as we continue on in through tomorrow afternoon, you can see that rain just pile up and some of the snow for the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada as we go through Sunday morning. Finally, that system gets out of here. We finally get a break. But now looking at 500 millibars, I want to show you what's going on at the upper levels of the atmosphere. Here's our cutoff low, just kind of spinning off the coastline here. And then this next system coming to the Pacific Northwest kind of picks it up. And look at this strong wind at 18,000 feet, kind of kicking that trough through and finally getting that out over the Great Basin here and pushing that off to the east. But this is going to leave a big high pressure system out here in its wake across the Great Basin. And if you guys have lived across Southern California, you know what that means. Strong offshore winds will develop as we go through the early portion of next week for some Santa Ana winds. Day 1 thunderstorm outlook. Bay Area is here. You can see it's just kind of clipping the Los Angeles metro there. And this would be all the way in through Saturday morning, tomorrow morning. And this is the next day. They kind of have it right on the borderline of the Los Angeles metro there. It does include much of Northern California, some of the I-5 corridor here, and some of Southern California, the coastline here, Central Coast as well. But anyway, now taking a look at some of the snowfall across the higher terrain, you can see the Siskiyous. The Siskiyou County Airport there, you could be looking at some measurable snowfall even down towards the I-5 area there. So a heads up for that if you're traveling back and forth across Northern California into Southern Oregon. And you see some of the big variability in some of the wind showing up for Mammoth Airport here. And look at that. The control run is only at 28 miles per hour, but some of these individual runs are much stronger winds here. So you got to really keep that in the back of your mind. And look at Lake Tahoe, the most recent European, showing 67 miles per hour. And some of these individual ensemble runs are over 70 miles per hour. So big winds are incoming here, folks. If you were out and about across the Sierra Nevada and the higher elevations, this wind is going to come blasting through, and including Southern California, higher terrain, also some of the desert areas. Some very intense winds are incoming here as we go through Saturday night all the way in through Sunday morning coming up here, you guys. Now, taking a look at the European, this is our low pressure center spinning off the coastline here. And I want to show you what's coming because you can finally see this gets picked up and kicked on through as we go through Sunday. Finally, that low pressure system gets out of here. But look at this high pressure building over the Great Basin here. And that's what's going to be the driver of those powerful offshore winds and the Santa Ana winds as we go on into the early portion of next week. So it'll be interesting to see because as you saw, the North American model showing a pretty dynamic event coming up here. But take that with a grain of salt yet. We're going to try to verify that. I haven't looked into the event just too much yet. I've only looked at that North American model here briefly. So we'll watch that closely tomorrow also. This is the snow here for Mammoth Yosemite Airport. And you can see kind of the same thing here, looking at maybe 7 inches with this. But again, the higher terrain will be getting more snowfall with this event. Here's looking at the North American model with the snow coming in. You can see as we go through the early morning hours tomorrow, the snow continues to pile up across the Sierra Nevada and all the way through Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, on and through Sunday morning. Some of that snow starting to fly across Northern California there also. So heads up for that. The North American model is showing some pretty big amounts across some of the higher peaks of the Sierra Nevada. So keep that in the back of your mind. If you're out living out there, you're out in the back country, you're traveling across some of the pass areas here as well, watch out for that snow. Now, taking a brief look here at the extended forecast, this is the GFS is actually running as we speak, hot off the presses. You can see our system finally kick through here. Santa Ana winds develop as we go through the early portion of next week. You can see this nice ridge kind of setting up shop here. And then as we go into the extended kind of a trough passes there and maybe something trying to drive down across much of the southwest USA here. But we'll see how that unfolds right now. Mainly the things we're looking at here, obviously, are the storm that's with us right now, and then the huge winds incoming, and then the Santa Ana event. And really after that, we're just going to kind of play it day by day and kind of see what these extended models bring, because there's been some big model discrepancy in just how this ridge is going to develop and what kind of troughing is going to develop here across some of the West Coast and how far east that's going to set up here and what's going to be going on across the Gulf of Alaska and over the Pacific Ocean. So as always, we take the extended with a grain of salt, and you can kind of see National Weather Service Sacramento pointing to this pattern shift coming up as we go on in through next week. But anyway, yeah, this is live that we're watching here. It's updating every 10 minutes or so, and you can see the convective nature of this band here could be bringing some pretty heavy rain down towards Santa Barbara, Highway 101, Highway 1, and even down towards Los Angeles, Southern California. And this band right here actually packing some moderate rain with it as well. I don't see any convection with that right now, but I wouldn't rule out a rumble of thunder with that. And you can kind of see the flashing that's going on, the lightning across some of the Bay Area, Northern California as well. Some of the Siskiyous up there looks like it's getting some snowfall. Santa Rosa looks like it probably got a thunderstorm there as well. So yeah, interesting storm. I mean, quite an amazing cutoff low here. Just continues to bring thunderstorm activity, and it's not done yet. We got to go through this all the way through the day tomorrow also. So as always, I'll do my video, my normal briefing tomorrow morning, and I hope you guys are doing all right out there. And I know some of the weather watchers are loving this lightning roll into the area here. Pretty dynamic storm for California. One to remember. But anyway, yeah, we'll do this again tomorrow morning, and I will talk to you guys then.